Morning all, welcome to Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board meeting. Are there any apologies?
You've got Barry and Chris. Sorry, Kat. Got Barry Roberts, Kat Whiteman, and Terry Walker for later.
Can I have a mover and a seconder?
Yep.
One second. Indeed, all in favour? Yep. 1.3 public forum. Okay.
Yep.
Morning.
Shall we sit here? Yeah, we'll sit there. It's not out here.
Okay. I'm just here to speak to the project of the Tairua pontoon that we've talked to you before about. I know you're preparing a report, Eileen, and thank you for letting us know that the costings that we got may not be quite accurate. Annie Stevenson, who is sort of championing this this initiative, has had a really bad week. So she didn't get on to the moorings people at WIC about extra costings. It might be helpful if we could get that information from you about what that might mean. But alongside that, Annie and I met with Wayne Price, who is the harbour master, or used to be the harbour master at Tairua, so he's very knowledgeable and influential, I suppose, around moorings and what happens in the harbour. We did a walk around in the freezing rain and looked at options for placing a pontoon. Long story short is that he didn't feel that we would be given approval to put a pontoon in the heavy stream flow by the bridge. So ideally, we thought that it could be placed, located on the playground side of the Pepe Stream Bridge, in the stream. He didn't feel that that would be approved by WRC. That was, his basic feeling. And suggested that we place it on the sand, so at low tide, basically the water goes out, there's a sand on either side of the main stream. We've discussed this with our committee and feel that that actually wouldn't be a viable option to put it on the sand there. Even at high tide, the water's not going to be high enough for kids to jump in. So we just wanted to be upfront with you about our application, in that we really think that the only viable option is to place it in the main stream. Now his worry about that was that if we had a storm, there might be something that comes down that creek, wipes out the pontoon goes floating and damages other property. I suppose when you do the risk assessment on that, you look at the consequence and likelihood. The likelihood of that happening is probably quite low. If we go forward with our application, we would have to talk through that in the application. And I know in Karakia, I think they call their pontoon up on land if they know there's a storm event coming. So that's a possibility, and that might be what we can feed into the application. But I feel it's really important for us to be upfront about really only applying for a location option that's workable for the kids, They're not going to use it, and it's just going to sit high and dry if we place it on sand. So going forward with your decision about whether you want to fund us for the resource consent application, and probably knowing what Wayne Price has talked about with us, we only want to apply if it's going to be located in that main stream, which he has said probably won't be approved. So I just wanted to be upfront about, that I don't want to waste any funds if that's, going forward that's not going to work. But we do feel it's worthwhile putting an application together and see where it goes. So we would still request that funding. Not sure now how much that will be, $1,000 plus. But if we can get some more information from you about that, that would be helpful.
Okay, but just for clarity, the application that you put in for discretionary funding was $1,000? So that is what the board will be considering today.
Okay.
Any further costs, I would have no idea what WRC charges, so that's what you would have to find out from WRC.
Mm.
But today the board will be considering the $1,000 request.
Okay, great. We were told by WRC that the application would cost $1,000, so that's the information we have at the moment.
Are you saying you want to put a hold on that in the meantime?
No, I'm just trying to be upfront about what you or the board might approve for us, because knowing that some expert advice says we won't get approval to put in mainstream and that's all we really want to apply for, I'm just trying to be upfront about, where we sit with that and your decision making.
You said the application fee of $1,000. That's not the consent fees. You don't know what the consent fees are.
That's the application for resource consent.
The lodgement fee.
Yeah. And there's quite a lot involved in writing that, which we're prepared to do.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Okay, thank you.
I just got a point of clarification. Sorry, I just come into it. So Eileen was saying that if the pontoon was held or controlled by WRC, they would then do the consent, would they? Is that a clarification?
The consent is with WRC. It is.
But you were suggesting that they should actually control the actual platform, not us.
Well, that's a decision that's further down the track. First of all, you've got to get the resource consent.
Okay, so just to clarify again, so are the other pontoons around under the regional council's consent or under the local PCDC?
There'll be regional council consents. We don't hold any consents for the swimming pontoons that I know of. Whangamatara is not held by us. Whitianga, I'm sure it's not held, but I couldn't categorically say that.
They're considered moorings.
Yeah, so why doesn't WRC put it up and put the consent in?
We have to apply to them for the consent.
For them to prepare their own consent for this unit to go in there, which they will control.
Whether or not they want to control it, I don't know yet. Yeah.
Okay, so,
I think that's part of the process. Okay.
Couple of issues. First one, the trees. The same as Joe, was located a few sites so we can put some in. Couple around the community building and that sort of thing. The issue is we haven't had a response from the person in a couple of weeks to actually what's in it. So we don't know whether we're going to get a few trees or what. So we could have an update. The other issue was the wastewater treatment plant. We got a email received from Grant Houston, I think that's the new guy, saying it's all on track and it should be done by the 24th of December. The issue is, we're trying to understand exactly what it's going to do. It's going to increase the capacity of the plant. Because in Pāuanui we've got 400 sections that have been consented. 50 of them have currently been sold. And there's development going on in Tairua as well. So there's nothing in the 10-year plan about actually increasing the capacity of that plant. So we don't want to get a situation where something else fails, because this odour issue has been going on for 3 or 4 years, and that's it. So hopefully that's fixed. But the other issue is
just to get some clarification around that, Bob. So what they're going to, I understand, is that they're going to build another odour control unit. So you have 2 of them, not the one. It's getting constructed overseas at the moment. So they think that will be the fix that you need. And they talked about it, there should have been 2 at the start originally, so they've actually put the heads for it. That's all I know.
Yeah, so the document received said that there's a staff member going to be present in the community board, and they're going to advise on what's happening. It's part of the project team. So basically I'm here to listen to that and get some sort of clarification on the potential growth of the plant. And that's it.
If you could tell me, is there something to mention?
Not that I'm aware of.
I heard there was something from this building.
I mean, if it's part of the WIP program, they'll probably talk about it as part of the WIP program.
Well, I think that's when it's come through.
So I also move that you received, Joe and Bob as speakers of public forum.
Yeah.
Have a second, please.
Yeah.
Thank you, in favour? Are there any items not on the agenda? Are there any conflicts of interest to declare? Move on to item 1.6, minutes for confirmation.
Through the chair, the recommendation for the minutes needs to be rewritten. It's basically confirmed that 10 June 2024 Tairua-Pāuanui Community minutes are true and correct record of proceedings. Please note the amendment.
Okay, are there any other amendments or corrections?
I wasn't at that meeting. Could you
I think there were apologies for both of us.
Yes, it was,
is it in the blue? Is it in the different colour? Is it what you're
it
saying?
should be in, it should be in the minutes of confirmation section.
Right.
It was just the resolution above it.
Right. So explain where?
It should be in the apologies where it says unconfirmed minutes.
Yeah.
It should be in there for you and Gary.
Maybe just get councillor Walker and councillor Dottie.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All good. Thank you.
I also moved the confirmation of minutes. Can I have a second, please?
Why have I got the one with
No, that next one
was a bit of a loss.
The moment we went
When you
to
look on, the one I've got now, I think it's the group. Oh,
So we're just doing the minutes, guys?
yeah.
Yeah, but
That's talking about it, there was a bit of a
This has got the old version under the next.
you haven't got the amended version.
That was for the regularly,
I thought it was sent out. Yeah.
Just press it in.
It had been brought to attention. Okay, so did I get, all in favour?
You're in the second.
Chris, second, yeah. Moving on, 2.1, discretionary fund request.
Okay, I'll take the report has been read. One small change under recommendations. It says Whangamata Community Board Discretionary Fund. That should read Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board.
The motion is that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board received the discretionary fund request report dated 24 June and approves the following discretionary grant request. We must refer to the attachments A, B, C and D. Discussions?
Is somebody talking to it?
Well, Joe has talked to the application for resource consent funding. We're open to discussion on that.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
So it's a relevant question. At the moment, the Tairua Community Board is asking for $10,000 associated with council lease charges and all annex carpet. Those lease charges, is that for hireage? Or is it a lease outside?
No, so the TCDC lease, part of the lease agreement with the Tairua Board is that they pay the council rates as well as insurances and public liability.
They're asking for money from us, from the community, to pay the community, the council back for rates.
Correct.
Is that money going around or not?
See?
Now, this is the question we've got about these community groups, volunteer groups, are saying that we're getting grants and we're asking for money to pay for things that the council is providing that's coming from our rates. It just seems to be administration costs that we may be best to relook at and manage better.
I note that this is in the workshop this afternoon, this whole gambit of the circle.
It seems a bit stupid to me, that also.
So we're trying to get things better, more localism. It just seems that we're trying to work through these processes so the volunteer groups can continue their role without having to get those associated costs that seem to be money back, money forward situation. Okay.
Question through the chair, if I may. Was there a time when the halls were not required to pay rates? Is that a historical thing? Is that?
Well, I don't know about that, but I do know that there's a vast variety through the district of charges, and I know our hall committee actually has the AGM later today or this evening. And many of that hall committee are pretty old, and they sit on several other committees in town, and a lot of them want out. So they have been, the rates of the insurance has been a bone of contention for a number of years, as long as I've been on the board. We have, in previous years, granted them money to cover those.
But they've always had rates.
I don't think they
Usually were rates.
As far as I know, they have. I don't know.
The rates were originally, through the chair, rates were originally paid by the community boards. And so they didn't have to be charged through the communities, because these communities are volunteer groups that just want to use the hall for a facility, but they get charged with all this incorporated society stuff, the accounting stuff that goes on, the hall haulage and all that. It all takes away from what they're there for.
I'm just trying to get a handle on it.
Yeah.
There's inconsistencies across the district.
There is
Between some get charged rates and others don't, or some used to get charged rates, or used to be exempt from rates.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering what the level of consistency is across the district, whether we've got a law. And I understand the costs on community groups. I've been there.
Yeah,
I understand.
absolutely.
I'm just trying to get.
The annex is that they run that annex. The council don't do anything about maintenance on the annex building. Actually, I used to be the library, the old library building.
See, that's
They just re-roof that.
question through the chair before, is that when you're getting grants, we can't give grants for buildings and things like that. It's part of the grants current situation. So you wonder why they're running an annex and why the council doesn't look after maintenance, and they just use it. So that's the bit I can't get clear about.
Well, again, it's in the workshop.
Yeah.
There's quite
it needs a good discussion.
options. There's a lot of options in there to put them on
And if you look at Hickaby Call and their drama, they're going to look, and they said, why don't you get an incorporated society? Just need somebody just with a pencil and paper saying, you want to hire the hall on Tuesday, tick it off. They have to join a society, they've got to get 15 members to sign up, they've got annual reports, they've got to do accounting. It's all too hard for a small group, and maybe we should need to rethink about how we deal with these communities. Something to think about.
I agree. So,
So do you want to go through each application one by one, or?
I think we should.
Yeah. So the first one is the $1,000 for the resource consent for Waikato Regional Council.
Yeah, support that.
Is everyone in support?
yeah,
Okay, Tairua Information Centre, $8,000 for the running of the summer programs.
yeah, well, I'm all for it because the information centre community thing is, it's the only summer program we have. We need to have something in town, and they do a great job. It's well supported, so I have no problem in training them.
Everyone disagree?
Yeah.
Okay, $10,000 for the Tairua Hall Committee.
Yeah,
Well, somebody's got to pay, somebody's got to pay the rates.
well, if we don't give them help, we stand to lose the committee, they'll walk away.
Yeah.
And then what happens? You know, I mean, they are doing a good job. I know that the information said they actually run the bookings now. But, yeah, they're doing a good job, and I'm going there this afternoon. I know the kid tossed out.
Well, you can give them some good news then.
Yeah.
There's got to be a value placed on volunteerism.
Yeah.
And it's not being placed as far as.
I mean, that will be well used, so, the men's shed, Tairua men's shed, to help towards their costs.
Yeah, well, there again, they're in the same boat, they, well, to a lesser degree, I guess, but they do, they're asking for some help for
Administration?
yeah. And they are, but the men is a bit, they actually have women involved here as well, so it's not, they are quite open to having women in participate. Yeah.
So what would the council's $2 million public liability be? What would they have to do there?
What are you looking at me for?
Somebody over the hill laid that all down.
So that's,
John Mushroom.
that would have been what was in their lease that they've agreed to.
Yeah. Well, that's health and safety now, isn't it? I mean,
Pretty standard, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah, I would imagine so.
Liability insurance.
just liability.
That's council.
One is that the council could negotiate for all the different boards, public liability insurance, and probably get a better deal, rather than little piecemeal ones.
I think through the chair, if I may, Councillor Godley raises a really interesting point. So our council is part of COLAB, which is a district-wide organisation that is designed to help us rationalise costs, including insurance, to see where savings can be achieved. And that is one question that we could go back and ask COLAB, and I don't know that we ever have, but we can ask the question. So I'll take that on board to go back and ask COLAB, is there an opportunity here for savings on insurance costs? And I'm asking the question.
I know in Wellington, there's been huge rises in insurance costs because of the earthquake problem. And now a lot of the big body corps got together and are negotiating far better deals because of the size. And it's going to be quite a bit different than what the costing will be, but the insurance costs has gone through the roof.
So are we talking about the?
Well, that's
different.
That's different to
Building insurance.
and building insurance.
Yeah, just, yeah.
We've got to do this now, I think.
So what's the $2 million liability cover?
That's excellent, isn't it?
Just an accident, or how risk averse is that? Doesn't work.
Well, if someone's on the premises, Jerry would have some more idea about public liability.
They've been the sheds,
Yeah.
Well, if someone trips or a machine cuts their hand or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's
or things like that. But of course, all I can say from my experience, having had many cases over the years with WorkSafe, it's got to be pretty major before they call things. Just life goes on.
Yeah.
So we're all scared for the sake of being scared. But, yeah, that's just my comment.
So, Mr. Chair, if I can just make an observation. Council decided at some stage, and you'll have to maybe remind me when, Councillor Walker, to enable or to put in place a more streamlined system for community boards to be able to consider grant applications and make decisions quickly and easily. So we made a decision to double the discretionary grants and give community boards the ability to consider those and make decisions rather than each organisation having to go through a contested application process. So what we've seen here today is you guys seeing the information, taking a look at the grant applications or the discretionary funds available, and making decisions. And so that's, for me, an endorsement of what council was trying to achieve. So well done. I'm just, community work is important. And I'm pleased to see it happen, and pleased to see you guys really taking charge of this process and supporting the communities.
Yeah, well, again, it's in this workshop this afternoon, like that whole, and obviously staff are going to give us some guidance, because I find it, I've read through it over the weekend, and it's, I wouldn't say it's ambiguous, but it's quite complicated, the various channels of financing. Hopefully we'll get some guidance this afternoon.
We're trying to make it easier. So
Yeah.
hopefully this is part of that process.
I hope it is easy.
We
Hope
appreciate
the
it.
result is.
Some feedback would be great.
Oh, you'll get it. Because it's
Yeah,
a
what's
that? Okay.
I support looking for a mover.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, oh, that's community boards.
You're doing them individually, I don't know.
Well, if you all agree, then we can do the resolution as a whole.
Lost the page.
Not happy to save the whole lot.
So you want me to read out the recommendation?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the recommendation is that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives a discretionary fund request report dated 24th of June 2024, approves the following discretionary grant request.
I think I read that out.
Tairua resident ratepayers $1,000, Tairua Information Centre $8,030, Tairua Community Hall $10,000, Tairua Community Amenity Incorporated $1,620, making a total of the funds requested $20,650. From the board has a discretionary fund of $67,000 that will leave the board $46,350.
There's nobody over here to fight.
Not at this stage,
Not
no,
yet.
no.
So, yeah, I say move that. Can I have a second, please?
Yeah.
All in favour? Thank you. Community awards, 3.2.
Ari's online for that.
I say move that we receive the motion that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receive the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board Customer Service and Request for Service RFS report dated 1 March 2024 to the 1st.
I think it was 3.1.
Oh, my apologies, 3.1. Community awards. I move that the TP Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives the 2024 Community Service Awards report dated July 24, and with the references to attachments A and B, eligibility and community service award nomination form. Can I have a mover, please? Well, I'll move it. I'll just second it.
Yeah, I have a second.
Thank you. Now, I'm putting a note here about.
Kia ora board.
Morning, Ari.
Morena. So I'm not sure if you would like me to speak to this report, but this is just for your information report in regards to the proposed 2024 Community Service Awards program. We discussed this at our 27th of June council meeting, and it was proposed that the community boards oversee the process. So you will see in the report, I've just included a timeline of how the process will take place. So at the next round of community boards, we shall have the nominations ready for review, and then at that stage you will be able to confirm the recipients of the awards. Does anyone have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Just one quick one, Ari, through the chair today. In October, the community board presentations, are you looking for Mayor Ling to do those, or are you looking for the local board chair?
Through the chair, it is proposed that we would hold the presentations at each of the community board venues, and it is my understanding that Mayor Lensott will be at those in attendance. I'm not sure as to whether or not he will be awarding them or the chairperson. I'm sure they can work that amongst themselves.
I'll concede.
Yeah, I'll give it up.
I haven't got the rank.
But he definitely plans to be there to be part of
Yeah,
their ceremony.
great. Another comment?
That's all good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harry.
Just one quick one again, Ari, we made a change when we went through the policy about that if they had to receive another award, it wouldn't interfere with this discussion. It was around a voluntary position, is that right?
Yes, correct. That is right, through the chair. So on page 19 of the agenda packet, you will see that we did make one change to one of the bullet points that was in the criteria. And that was, again, what Councillor Walker has described. It was that we would remove the bullet point where nominees have been rewarded in some other form. So this means that they will be able to be considered.
So if you had a QEC or something like that, it doesn't affect this.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? So I think I move. I will move, have a second.
Terry second.
Okay, all in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to 3.2, the request for service, RFS 3 monthly
Thank you.
report.
Thanks, Ari. Adriana is here in Christmas with me. So we continue. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
You already know me. I'm the Customer Services Manager. I hope you have a chance to go through this report. So the purpose of this report is to provide you with an overview of the last 3 months that we have March to May. So the idea is for us to continue with quarterly reports that provide an overview of the volume of calls and requests for services that we lodge for all the departments. So in this specific report, and based on your constructive feedback, we have detail of the progress of the RFSs per department. So in the first part of the report, you will have an overview of the volumes that we manage in customer services team for the RFSs. So basically, as we have been discussed, the main role that we have as a customer services team is to provide the services with all the calls that we receive. For the last 3 months, in the first chart, you can see that we still answer more than 80% of the queries at the first point of contact. It requires a consistent training for the team to ensure they have a broad knowledge across all the periods. So also we receive emails. So it's a high volume of emails that we receive every day, and from this traffic across all our offices. Teams for Coromandel. We have Whitianga, Whangamata, Coromandel. Teams in Whangamata will include Tairua-Pāuanui. So basically, the volume across the year in the from this food traffic is the same. In Teams office, we manage 50% of the volume. Like 27% is on AA agency, the transport agency, and the rest is request for services. Coromandel town always have 10%, and Whangamata, Tairua-Pāuanui 80%. So the last chart that we have here will be the total number of RFSs that we received. And here, what happened, what is the progress that we have if we move
to our RFS project, page number 6. Can you see the RFS project? We are very pleased to report to you that we received a very positive feedback from the customers. Now, all the infrastructure departments, which is parks and reserves, roading, water service, and solid waste, on those departments, we already complete the automatic notification to the customers. What it means, when we close the RFS, the task is complete, the customers will receive an automatic notification telling them your RFS has been complete. If you have any query in regards to this RFS, please contact us. So parks and reserves, so many customers are very pleased to receive the notification and call us, acknowledging the benefit of the service. Also solid waste. Some customers have been received, your RFS has been complete, so they are really happy with the response. But just taking into account that the basis of this project is not only for the customers to receive an automatic notification, but for our contractors to have the awareness to ensure the RFS can be closed only when the task is complete, with a very clear note of what was the result of the outcome, and also the awareness that we have that as soon the task is complete, we will contact the customers by phone, because not all customers have email. So it's this awareness that we have in to improve our services. So far we have a very good responses. So what happened with the rest of the departments? That is building department, basically the regulatory department, which is building, regulatory, and duty planning. So for those three departments, we interact on a daily basis, PCDC staff directly with the customers. So this implementation is not complete yet, but the project, they have a daily contact with the customers. There is no issues around this. However, it will be implemented in the next quarter. So now, the next part of any questions from here?
I just got one, Adriana.
Yes.
I think it's fantastic what you're doing. We're giving us a real good picture of what's going on, and the response is fantastic. When you get issues around, like you've got roading here, it might take many months for that problem to be fixed. How will you communicate to the person with the RFS over that? Will that be a follow-up discussion, or will that be just logged and forgotten about? I just want to understand how that works.
So Robin has a fantastic contractor, which is Ventina and Pinnacle Civil. So this Ed, who is the manager for Robin, has involved in this project, in this RFS project, both of the contractors, and they always contact the customer. Contact by phone, notify the customer, and put the notes. The customer was contact on, telling that the works are programmed, and we implemented the notification. But every single time when the roads are programmed, the roading department are contact the customers directly by phone. They are very, very disciplined on this.
That's good.
So let's move to the next part of the report. The next part of the report, we have this time 3 months that you can see how many RFSs for the top 6 departments, how many RFSs they have been complete, and how many RFSs are open or outstanding. So for Tairua-Pāuanui, you can see that the highest departments with complete RFSs for these 3 months. For Tairua-Pāuanui specific, you can see that it's Parks and Reserve. Also, we have Roading, 32 complete RFSs, and 5 opening. Solid waste, 96 RFSs. Water services, we have 137 complete RFSs and 20 open RFSs. This is for the highest volumes that we have for Tairua-Pāuanui specifically for the last 3 months. And in the next chart, we have the top 6 departments with the total volume of complete RFSs and open RFSs for the last year, right? So in this chart, we can identify what are the departments with more open RFSs for the last year, that have outstanding RFSs for the last year, and then every single department provide an overview of the targets of the time frames that they have. And so it's a very good overview to help us to understand what is the dynamic of the time frames that each department runs, right? For example, the first example that we have is building planning, that they have the general target, the general response can vary for if there is a general 5 working days for a general response, and if the target for investigation, such as illegal building, can be 30 working days. So if we move to roading, that is the one that you have here in the roading, so we can see that we have for Tairua-Pāuanui for the last year, 170 RFSs complete, and we have open and outstanding 16 RFSs. So as per the roading department explanation, the RFS will vary according to the urgency of the issue, and some RFSs will become program work, which can take several months. So probably these 16 RFSs are on program roles. However, the customers have been notified by phone, and the times when they are notified are registered in the history of the RFSs. So if you have any question for any specific RFS, by all means, please let me know, and we can provide you with what is the current status and the history of the RFSs, which is very good, and the information is very clear.
Can I ask a question? I was just looking at different topics. How many of these could be answered by going onto the council's website? Because I looked at the council's website and it's pretty good, and it gives lots of answers, but maybe a lot of people don't know how to use it. But can you say how much of this could be answered if they actually went on the website?
So yeah, so basically, as you can see, when we answer, we as a customer services, our role is not to advise or to interpret. We have the information available. So for this reason, we answer 80% of the calls on the first point of contact. And also we all the time have news. Every single Friday you will see the news for TCDC and the links with the relevant department to how to navigate. It's a very good question. Probably is in our call center tax report that we have at the first.
Sure, but it's probably a matter of educating ratepayers.
Yeah.
Because once you get into it, you actually see there's a depth of information that's there.
Often they just want to vent about something, and then this is where it comes through. Yeah, my question too, Karakia, is that it's a big help for us, because we used to get run by all the people all the time, and then we'd go and sort it out. But this is a channel that we can feed through here, which is great. So if they log one with you and then they wait a couple of weeks to get a response and say something's wrong and nothing happened, do they come back to you and say reference number, can you tell us what's going on? How do they follow up to find out what's going on?
So let's say they receive the RFS, soon we load the RFS.
Yep.
So let's say this RFS have a target of investigations of several months. So for roading, let's say the example of roading, so the roading team will contact the customer. When the customer contacts us for the second time, we load a new RFS, a link to the primary RFS, advising the department that this RFS is still open and the customer needs a follow-up with the RFS. So normally, when customers calling us for parts and reserve, that is another frequently RFS that customers calling, if the RFS is closed, so for this reason is the project. If the RFS is closed, they already should be notified and we will be able to read the notes through them. If the RFS is still open, we will read the notes because all the contractors all the time are updating the RFS notes. So we're just telling them, hey, your RFS at the moment is in investigation. They will be in 5 days resolving. So basically, yeah, it's a continuing
So
conversation.
you're the channel back to any further
Yes.
discussion?
Yes.
Just getting that right.
Sometimes we need to transfer the call. As you can see in the first chart, is number of calls we transfer.
Yeah.
So these calls that we transfer is when when the information that the customer requires is very technical or or technical level. So we transfer to the field representative. We transfer the call to them, and every single department give us a list of people that we need to transfer the calls. So they already expected a transfer call from my team. We have specific people to answer the calls from voting, for tax and reserves, so there's a certain volume of calls that we definitely need to transfer.
Thank you. Okay, sounding good.
Through the chair, a question, if I may. Thank you very much. How do you manage a situation where something happens, like my example, where the street sign at the end of my road was broken, and I lodged an RFS for that, but I know probably 2 or 3 other neighbours also lodged an RFS for the same thing, and between when it got broken and when it got fixed, probably multiple RFSs, all for the same thing. How do you link them all together and coordinate essentially what is multiple RFS requests from different people but for the same job? How do you link them together?
That's a very good question. Thank you so much, because it's a very often a case that we have for water services and for voting as well. So by auditing requirement, we as a customer services need to load an RFS, different RFS for every single call. What we do is link the RFS with the primary RFS. The customer now, we allocate the name and the contact details, and we tell the department this RFS is for the same issue as the primary RFS number XX. But for every single call, we load different RFSs linked to the primary RFSs. This is the transparency that we need to keep with the auditor.
Okay, so they show up in the stats as individual RFPs?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So the longer that stays unfixed, and the higher number of calls, it can contribute to the number of RFSs that are open and that we're dealing with in terms of our LTP performance and excuse me, I've still got and our audit reporting. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Thank you.
For example, the more often case is for water services. We have shutdowns, emergency shutdowns and planned shutdowns. For emergency shutdowns, so we need to load every single RFS. For planned shutdowns, people may not usually call because our comms department with the water service are providing extensive notice by local news, by radio, by our website, by our Facebook, by letters directly to the houses when the planned shutdown is. However, some people is still not reading and calling us, hey, what happens? There's no water in my house. So we say, hey, it was a planned water, but we need to load an RFS. This case is very often for water services.
And that goes back to Gary's thing, that they should go online and be connected with what's going on with the game shutdown.
It is a very good initiative that probably our community outcomes manager, Lorna, could consider is how to do an educational plan to the communities, like what we do with solid waste. We do, how do you say, workshops everywhere to educate people how to recycle and stuff like educational plans are very good, very beneficial for the community at any area. And if it's this one about how to use and access, navigate to our intranet, it will be great. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks.
So you can see what is the explanation, like for the departments, that is the departments that we target in our RFS project, who work through contractors, which is Parks and Reserves, Road, Water Services, and Solid Waste. But by the way, Solid Waste have a very short time frame, so it's very rare that we have an open RFS for solid waste. So as you can see, the comments that every single department provides of what is the dynamic of their own time frames, especially for the service level agreements that they have with the contractors. So if we move to the last chart, that is the comparison of request for service for the peak period. So it's why we have this report here, because in the last quarter, we discussed what was the peak period for us is December to January. So we compare last year, 2022, 2023, with 2023, 2024. As normal for 2024, the highest volume of RFSs is all solid waste because of the transition, and the non-resident ratepayers were unaware of this solid waste transition. So for this reason, we have high volume, and solid waste just become normal and people adjust to the changes. But this is the first chart is related to the total RFSs that we received and the volumes. And in the second chart, you can see is the RFSs that were open for this period, breakdown by department. It's only the RFSs that were open. How many RFSs we were open for last year compared to this year for the peak period? We have the highest in 2022, 2023. The highest volume of open RFSs were for roading. Solid waste, even when waste have a highest volume, it's a short time frame. They don't have any open RFSs. All of them were closed. Parks and reserves. So basically, this is the report that we have, and the offers of if you already have awareness of how many RFPs we have for this work, for Tairua-Pāuanui, open for each department. If you have any question related to an open RFP, please don't hesitate and let me know, and we can provide you with the history of the RFPs and what is the current status. Just taking into account that some RFPs for rolling and other departments are not part of our jurisdiction. So it's something to take into account. The final proposal of this report is we've been doing a quarterly report, but these reports are not aligned with our financial year. So the idea, if you consider relevant, is to align this report with our quarterly every single quarter for our financial year. So I will provide you this report in our next meeting. And if you have you are interested in other information that you consider relevant, please let me know that we can provide.
I have a question. The blue section, the work in progress. How historic are some of those? Is that the long one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So how historic? So we have in our history, in our data, we have 10 years of history that we can provide the charts of. Our system have a lot of upgrades, but if there is any specific department that you can see what is the data, for example, you say, I want to see in 2015 compared to 2020, 23, how many RFPs each department received. Probably there is something that we can look in our history. So it depends. What time frame do you want to see? What time frame do you want to run the data and why?
Well, it's actually got action. Outstanding RFSs and lack of action on them.
So do you refer that probably how many RFPs we have still outstanding for the last 3 or 4 years
Well, yeah, I will.
per department?
As Tairua-Pāuanui concerned. Yeah.
For which department would you like to see that?
I don't know what else, does it come under rating, does it?
Right.
Rating. So we've had one on rating for probably a couple of years now,
For what?
still waiting. We're working away. Constant flow of emails, to and fro. However, that's right.
Does that come under RFS or is it capital works thing?
No, it was I'll tell you what it was. It was a street light that was installed and never been commissioned. It's taken it in the ground, wired it up, and it's never gone. It still waits to be. And we've had various answers, awaiting this, awaiting that. But I get a regular update from the person that lives opposite this light. And we're still waiting. However,
The last thing that we were told was that the wires were there, but PowerCo needed to come and connect it up to the transformer. So I think Roding having an issue getting PowerCo there to do it. So we're following that up with Roding.
Yes.
My comment would be to say, this is fantastic, what we're getting, some really positive stuff. And I really appreciate the fact you ring people as opposed to an email. I think phone calling, to me, is a great way of telling people what's going on quickly and easily without an email trail that starts and an email thread that goes on. So that's positive. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I also move that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives the customer service and request for service RFS report dated 1st of March 2024 to the 31st of May 2024, report dated 24 June 2024. Can I have a second, please? Chair, in favour?
Aye.
Item 3.3, the CAPEX.
Glenn is online with us, item.
Hello, everyone.
Morning, Dan.
This is our update for end of financial year, with mostly a mix of either projects that have been completed or multi-year projects that are carrying over into our new financial year. So happy to take any questions or whether you want to work through line by line, but otherwise take it as read.
Have we got a current update on the Corrie Park ablutions to date? Any more other than what's written there?
No. So just that that's underway, and I'm not sure if you're aware. So Steve, the project manager who's been involved in that, has just taken up a position as our council's property manager. So we're just working through transitioning that whole toilet portfolio project over to one of the other PMs. But no, that will truck on and shouldn't experience any delays from that.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yep, certainly.
Glenn, my question's around the numbers, really. We've had quite a lot of money come out of this area that's gone from retained earnings to other things. These projects here that haven't been finished or money's left over, will that go into retained earnings?
So will the money
On projects that haven't been finished, will it roll into retained earnings?
For the projects that are being carried forward, so that's ones that have a green status, not a blue. The budgets, we're still working through the carry forward review process, and that report will come to the September council meeting for approval. And so those are the projects with the largest amounts unspent, but the expectation is that those amounts will be carried over. That unspent money will stay with the project for the new financial year. We'll carry it forward and use it to complete the project.
So they're the green ones. The blue ones you say like Holland Stream Improvements, which started at $7 million, but I see it now it's at 217, is going to be closed off. So is that money that was put aside for those projects going to roll into retained earnings to be kept in the area?
I'm a little bit uncertain about what finance's approach will be for that. That would be my expectation. Like certainly stay in the area, and I guess retained earnings is the mechanism for doing that. If it's a renewals project, then it would probably return to the renewals reserve. And if we haven't drawn the debt down, it might just be that that we enter the new financial year with a lower debt position.
Yeah, I think Pāuanui has been not a renewals. It was been a project that was funded and partly finished, and I see it here. They're closing the project pending a proposed Mount Avenue pipe network upgrade and use all of the draft. So they moved it into stormwater, have they?
Yeah. So I can check with finance about what will be the fate of the unspent budget on that project. So I guess I hear what you're saying as a concern that what started off as a ward project, the money may end up sitting in a district-wide stormwater fund. Yeah.
Okay, any discussion on that CAPEX?
The toilet, who's going to, you talked about the toilet? Just waiting for.
There's someone that really gets on my goat is, we haven't approved the toilet yet, and I said to you in the paper.
Oh, it's a scheme, it was what do you call it? The concept, the draft concept.
Yeah, they put it in the paper, so all of a sudden it's written in stone.
Oh, which paper is this?
Deal.
This morning?
No, the other day.
Last week.
Yeah.
When you say Herald, you say Herald or local?
Actually,
Karakia post, but it's linked to the Herald, so it's online. Herald. I think that was just Al Williams was on the graphic and said, here's a proposal. Can't remember the details of what that.
Yeah, they rang me.
Did they?
Yeah.
If there is an issue with accuracy of that, we should take it up.
Well, we haven't approved it, so it's not.
That's right. So, but if he's reporting it inaccurate, he's normally pretty good at that, right, Al Williams? But if it's inaccurate, we'll take it up with him.
As soon as the fund is there, that's it. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, with no further discussion, I also move that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board 2013-2024 CAPEX work program and other information update June 2024 report dated 26th of June 2024. Also move, can I have a second, please?
Yeah.
Thank you, in favour? Aye. Moving on.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Report for the action schedule. Motion that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives the action schedule report dated 24th June 2024 with the attachments A for July 2024. I'll move, can I have a second, please? Happy? Discussion?
Can I just clarify the dates, Mr. Chair, on the originated? Should they be 2023?
No, those dates have been correct from where we came from. We're not even in October yet.
No.
It's the opposite, it's the,
10th of June?
Yeah.
Come from the 10th of June.
American date.
Yeah,
So we need to get that fixed.
opposite way around. received the budget for asphalt. Don't see anything else there. Are there any comments? There be none? All in favour? Aye. Thank you. My report. I have a mover to receive my report. Second, please.
You're going to move it.
I moved it. Oh, sorry. I'm moving my report. Someone second it, please. Discussion time?
Yeah, is anything you want to tell us, Warwick?
Well, I've told you.
Well, I'm going to read it and say,
That's what my father used to say.
disappointed about some things and happy about some other things.
Oh, yes, I'm just, yeah. How long do you want me to speak? I go to all these meetings and
Yeah, you go to a few.
they pour their souls out. I do my best to placate them.
It's interesting that all have decided to come around and get incorporated.
Well, I don't know whether they have to become incorporated now. When you, this afternoon, there's a lot of detail in the workshop about funding options. I note that they only have to have a constitution.
Really?
Well, it's in the workshop, if you read the workshop notes. So, yeah, I go to Hikawai Hall. There's a hard-working core of people out there. There's all sorts of problems out there with the hall, with maintenance and responsibilities. So, yeah, it's just, in general, our communities are.
So my comments is really around part of the old regime, and Mayor Lane said if I could listen to this, that we had liaison people within the community board used to go out and listen to each group and hear what's going on. And when we came into the grants, we knew exactly where they fitted financially, where they wanted to go. You're going out hitting all these groups, but I don't see any here in Pāuanui. You know, where are those groups fitting and what's going on? So we've lost our way a little bit there in terms of being connected with those boards or those different groups and hearing their issues. And we didn't sit on the board, we just sat on the meeting every now and again, maybe an AGM or maybe a monthly meeting. And especially this time of the year, when we're coming up to grants, we really need to understand what their needs are and where they fit. And I think, you know, in Whangatā, we set up a club support package for those small groups just so they could get some money to do their accounts, the IT, and that was all particularly boo because the Treasury didn't want to do any more and the IT person didn't want to do any more. So that helped these groups just keep going. Is that where you're feeling you go around these groups? I get it from you that you're feeling they're struggling, you're actually connecting with them. But I don't see anything across the water. Something that's not coming through, so. Maybe something to think about.
I'm open, I don't know what happens over here other than Bob's Resident Ratepayers Association, so I don't come to them. How regularly you meet?
How
regularly do you meet over here?
6 weeks.
Yeah. But I come to this. I mean, if I'm invited, I'll come.
If you're invited, yeah, exactly.
But I try and make myself available everywhere. Exactly, you know.
No, I just think
water,
it's
don't make them drink.
it was better sharing it around the group, we could all get involved and chat at the table. It's one of the things I thought we missed out a little bit on. So. Anyway, the other one was, we were going to talk about the wastewater plant. Never got any discussion about that.
I'm not sure.
Does Glenn speak to that?
Not unless he was talking about the WIC program, which he didn't.
What is it they're putting it out there and you?
I'm not sure. Are you still here, Glenn?
Yeah, odor control unit. There's one out there, it's insufficient. They're putting another one alongside. It's a $2 million job, not cheap. And it's probably the biggest thing we've had done in the area for a while.
Here you go. Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Megan. Terry's just asking for an update about the wastewater plant at Pauanui here with the odour.
Odour control, you know.
Good question. Do you want to give me 5 minutes? I'll run upstairs and see if I can grab the PM and get an update. And we should be around.
We just got the board chair here from Pauanui asking the question, so we're good to give them an update.
Okay.
Yeah, we can pause.
5 minute break.
Yeah, we can have a 5 minute break to grab a cup of tea and then Glenn will come back to us. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Right. Where's Chris? What, you inspired?
So we've got, has the recording started? It was never stopped. It's muted though. So we've got Glenn back.
Hello, yes. Okay, so what I can confirm, we have ordered the equipment for the scrubbers that needs to be installed. We're expecting delivery of that in September, October, and we're about to put out a tender for the contractor to install that equipment, and the tender that's going out, the terms of that are that the installation needs to be completed by the 30th of November. So that's where we're at with the project.
Good. Okay. Very good. Here's Tom. How's the shipping? Thank you, Nate.
We'll let up the capacity.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any further business? If not, I declare the meeting closed.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for
See you,
your,
Bob.
thank you.